Photoshop open and I opened I just took a screenshot of one of the drawings. So I'm only going to focus on the bottom part, so I'm going to crop that. So I go image crop, so I only want that. And then I go Command or Control D for deselect because I want to get rid of the dashed line for selection. Now I'll just pull this in so that you can see all of the menus.
Are you supposed to be sharing screen right now?
Yeah, thanks for telling me. I told you, I always do it. Thanks for telling me. So I opened Photoshop and I took a screenshot of one of the drawings of the Savoy. I brought it in here. I'll just go back to what I did. So I did a screen grab. So this probably isn't going to be a good high resolution, but it doesn't matter for this. And I don't want to bother with the elevation for today. I only want the base of the drawing. So I selected it and did image crop. And now I only have that. And then to get rid of the selection, I used Command D. And that just got rid of the dash line. So the first thing I want to do is just make a couple of different layer sets. Because it'll make my life easier. I'm just arranging the screen. So I just hit plus down here and I made a new layer. I'm going to call this one the original. And then I want a layer that doesn't have the white background, that only has the black outline. I'm going to zoom in a bit. So I'm going to make sure I'm selected on the original and I'm going to get my magic wand tool and then either select white or the black. I'm going to try two different versions. Okay, so I selected white, but it was only in this distinct area. So I want the whole drawing. So I'm going to unclick contiguous and go again. And now it's selecting the white from the entire drawing. The tolerance is 10. Let me zoom in a bit more. I'm going to deselect, change the tolerance. The tolerance was 20. I want to change it to 10 and I'm going to do the same thing. I think that is not selecting. It's got some gaps. Let me try again. That's even worse. Try 2. Okay, I'm going to try and select. Oh, my drawing is just not a very high resolution. So I'll go back to 10. Select the white. I'm going to zoom out. And then I selected the white and I want to select the opposite of the white. So I'm going to inverse that. So I go select at the top and inverse. So now it should have selected everything black. I'm going to hit Control Copy. I'm going to make sure I'm on my layer 2. I'm going to turn off this layer. Hit deselect, Command D, and then Command V for paste. So now I have just the black lines. I need another layer underneath. I'm going to make a white sheet. So I need to make sure I name everything. Black lines. I'm going to call this underlay. So I think the key to Photoshop is layering and naming things as you go. So I want to make a white underlay sheet. I've turned off the original. I don't need it anymore. So I'm in the underlay layer. I'm going to hit Command All and it's selected all around here. And then I need fill. I think so. So I'm in Edit and then Fill. And I'm going to hit white. Now I'll be changing that later. I'll just do 50% gray so you can see that it's different from the original. And that's on top. it's still selected. I don't want it to be selected. I'm going to hit Command D for deselect. Then I'm over here and I'm going to grab it and push it underneath. So now you can see I have this underlay sheet. It's actually really dark. I'm going to change the opacity down. So you can see that there is something there underneath that I can change the color of or do stuff with. Can you guys, if you can see and you can hear me, can you just give me like a hands up, a raise hand, please? Okay, good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. So now I want to get some trees. So I'm going to go to Google and I'm going to type in Photoshop. I'll just show you what I typed in that didn't work. Photoshop tree. And it gave me loads of elevations of trees, but I don't want that because I'm doing plants. So I'm going to add the word plan. And if I go to images. So here we have a few. Now, can anyone tell me what the difference is between these files that have the checkered background and the files that have the white background? If you know, just shout out and tell me. No, really? Okay, this is really
It's a
what? PNG?
PNG, yeah.
Yeah, that's it exactly. So a PNG, the checkered background is a PNG, which is a transparent background. Actually, let's find out what PNG actually stands for. PNG. Portable graphics format. Right, whatever. So it's a transparent background, and that's what we want because otherwise we have to take the background out ourselves. So just to skip that step, just pick the ones with the checkered background, or you can even put in here .png, and then you'll only get some PNGs. Now, if this one is a PNG, it already has the shading, but I want to show you how to do the shading yourselves. So what one do I like? I like this one. Maybe I can get it. Maybe I have to pay for it. Let's see. I'm just going to go back a step and just right click it and do save image, and we'll see what happens. And I'm going to make a new folder and I'm going to make sample trees. Okay, it's a JPEG. Why is that? It's probably because I didn't download it from the right place. It's actually really a bad one. But anyway, let's try it anyway. I'm going to open it in Photoshop. It's just I'm waiting. So you can see here at the top now I have this file, and this file is a new file open beside it. So let's zoom in and take a look. Okay, it's really pixelated. I'm going to make a new layer over here. I'm going to oh, I'm in the wrong layer, so I'm in the background layer. Okay, I'm selecting okay. I think 10 was better. I'm sure Dara will kill me like, no, 20 was better. Let's try 40. Okay, that's better. So I've selected the transparent background, but I want to invert that selection. So I'm going to go select, oh no, actually, I think I can just, yeah, I want to invert that selection. So I go up here, select inverse. I know you can't see my very top menu, and I'm sorry about that. It's just the way the recording happens, but I'm going to the select menu at the top and then down to inverse. So now it has selected the green, and I'm going to hit Control Copy. It's onto my clipboard. I'm going back to my original file. I'm making a new layer. I'm going to call it tree, and I'm going to hit Control V for paste. Now we have a tree. It's huge, yes. So I'm going to scale it down. Oh, if you scale, it's going to go all weird. But if you hold the shift key or the option key on a Mac, it doesn't change the proportion. Okay, so the north, if I'm saying the north is at the top, now I don't know if that's right for this project, but let's swivel it around. So the dark side is at the top, and then, alrighty. Well, I'm going to just put a couple of trees down here. It's a bit of an annoying color, but just for this, like, it's a bit bright, but we'll see how it turns out in the end. Now I want to give it a shadow. So I get the tree layer over here, and I'm going to duplicate it. Duplicate layer. I'm going to call it tree shadow. I just want to concentrate on this one thing. So I'm turning off all my other layers, and I'm just going to zoom in. Now I want to make sure I'm on the right layer. So I want to select that little outline. Okay. What if I select everything else? Yeah, I'll select everything else and then select inverse. So now I only have this shape selected, and I'm going to fill it with a gray. So I go, it's in edit and then down to fill, 50% gray. Okay. I want it to have even more of a transparency, so I'm going to go over to opacity and give it 50%, and I'm going to deselect it. So I hit like Command D. Oh, something weird is happening. Okay, I hit Command D. If you ever can't find something, go up to the help bar and type in what you're looking for. Don't ever be lost in Photoshop. Use the search. Find what you're looking for. Undo or deselect. So if I wanted to deselect, I could type in deselect. Then it would take me to there. I've just done it so it's in gray, or it would show me the shortcut. So I deselected it. I'm going to grab it. I'm going to move it up a little bit. I'm going to turn on my tree. So now you can see I've made the shadow. I don't want the original. I want that. I'm going to zoom out. I'm doing my shadows right up the drawing, but actually all the other examples we saw, they were off to the side, and it was a kind of nicer. So I was selecting the shadow there. I'm going to select the tree now. I selected it by changing which layer I had selected, and then I'm going to move that off to the side. I'm not quite happy. I'm going to zoom in. Zoom in, zoom in. I want to grab the shadow, so I'm using the layer to select it. And I'm using my arrow buttons on my keyboard to move it over and down. I think that's okay. Except that the shadow is on top of the tree. So if I turn my opacity up, you can see the shadow is on top of the tree. We don't want that. So the way I change that is I just grab the layer over here and pull it underneath. There we go. That tree is really like a lot. It's like luminous. I'm going to just dull down that tree a little bit by using the opacity. I'm going to dull it down. Let's make it, yeah, that's better. Let's make it 90. Just type in 90. Right, so I'm going to start populating this now. But I've made this little, sorry, I'm zooming. I've made this little tree and its shadow, and I want them to stick together. I need them to be buddies. So I'm going to select a layer. Okay, I think this works, if I can remember. And I'm going to select the shadow layer. The two of them are highlighted here. Oh my God, my spelling is so bad. Please forgive me. And then I'm going to hit this chain link. So they should be linked. They move together now. They're one thing. Now let me see if I control copy and control V. Oh, it only pasted the one thing. I wonder how I can get them to, I'm going to highlight the two of them together. That's really strange. I thought it would. Maybe I need to make a group, and I just, I'm not really au fait with groups yet. I'm going to select the two layers together and paste them together and paste together again and paste together again and paste together again. And it has made all these extra layers over here. And these are not, oh, they are linking. So every two of these layers together is linked. When you're finished, you can group all your layers together and combine them. Or else you could have laid out all your trees and then put all your shadows on one layer, so you only would have had two. But for some reason I like doing it like this. I'm going to start messing with them now, so I'm holding down shift, I'm going to make this one bigger. It doesn't really fit there. Anyway, it's only an example. I'm holding down shift and I'm going to scale this, and grabbing this one, see the shadow and the tree is moving together, and I'm going to scale it down and holding shift and scaling it down. And you can kind of group them a little bit. Oh, that didn't take its shadow. Select the two together and bring it over. And then hold shift key to scale proportionally, and then I'm going to shove it under. But I actually want this one to be underneath those two. So these layers are selected and I can pull them all the way to the bottom, and then they dip underneath, and then you get like the shadow on top of that tree, and it can start to look quite nice. So I think there's a way of using groups. You guys might educate me, but that's a quick example of adding in a couple of trees. I want to add in some figure ground. So I need to highlight this area and change it to black. So I'm going to go, the underlay is there, it's off, and I'm going to go back to black lines and make sure I'm on that layer. And I'm going to get my, I think it's my magic wand tool. Something seems to have selected, so I need that to unselect. Okay, get my magic wand tool. Oh, I'm not in any layer. So now I'm in there. Now, if I select that, it selects everything from the whole drawing. I don't want that. So Command D for deselect. So I want to turn on contiguous, which is a continuous line. So it's only selecting that one now. And I am going to make a new layer and call it figure ground. Whoop. I have no idea what happened. New layer, figure ground. That thing is still selected. Okay, that's good. And I go edit, in the edit menu at the top, fill, black, and let's see if this works. Okay, there we go. So it's still selected and I want to deselect it. So I do Control D for deselect. Now, I want to do a few more, but I want to do it a little bit faster. So if I turn off black lines, like this is only there on the figure ground layer. I need to make sure I go back onto black lines layer so that it will actually select what's on the black lines layer. So if I go here with my magic wand again and select this, but like I said, I want to do it a little bit faster. So can you see the minus button appearing below my wand? That's because I'm hitting Option. It might be something different on a PC. And on a Mac, if I hit plus, it adds a little plus sign, or not plus, if I hit the shift arrow, it adds a plus. So you might need to Google Magic Wand addition or subtraction, and it will tell you which is the shortcut for your Mac or your PC. So if I hit the plus and then I get in there and I click in there and I want these walls and I want this wall, I think, oh, that was too much. I need to minus that last bit out. Okay, So I've got all that. I'm going to go to figure ground, make sure I'm on figure ground layer, go to edit, fill, black. Now we've done that much. So, and I hit deselect. So these wouldn't let me fill because the lines were open. You would need to close off that line. So what I'm going to do is do it manually. So I'm in figure ground and I want to hatch all of this. So I've got the polygonal lasso. Polygonal means like random shape. And I'm just going to draw over. So that's selected now. I'm in figure ground layer. I can go edit, fill. And it's given it to me in black. I go deselect and it's just connected. And then with this one as well, I'm going to guess just the way it would be extended up to the edge of the drawing. And hit edit, fill, black. There's a bit missing there. I'm going to fill it in, grab. Oh, it deselected. There we go, patch, edit, fill, black, and then Command D for deselect. Now I'll leave it there. There's likely a building in here, or maybe I'll just do them quickly because it's irritating me. So I'll just use the polygonal lasso. Am I in the right layer? Yes, I am. And then I'm going to just leave a gap. Oh, that was really badly done. I hit escape. I came down here. So this is just a quick example for you guys. I don't even mind if you're doing this in this quick way for this week's example. It's just to get these skills under your belt. Okay, I deselected that one accidentally. I'll get it again. Although I'd say it's a footpath or something, but anyway, it doesn't need to be accurate for me for next week. So now you can start to see the buildings actually or the drawing is starting to come alive, starting to look a little bit dimensional. So I want to only render what's inside my site boundary. So, and I want to render differently what's inside and what's outside. So what I'm going to do is get a type of color that I like. So to do that, I'm going to grab an example. I mean, I kind of like the brown that's in here. So I'm going to save this anywhere. Go and get it. That's it there. And then open with Photoshop. Then I'm going to copy it and just throw it in my drawing because I want the reference. So Command Alt, Command Copy, back to my drawing, give it a new layer, call it like sample color, and then hit Control V to paste it. So it's just there floating around, it's not affecting my drawing. But I want to use the color. So this is a pipette. It grabs things. So I'm going to grab that color. Now you can see the color is there on my little clipboard. Now there's another section we'll do on colors about saving palettes, but we won't do it today. We'll just do that another day. But you can quickly just grab a color and it goes to your clipboard, and you can then turn off the eye for your sample color, and then you can start to just outline or use the pipette tool if you want to be more neat, and start to outline what is within, say, the boundary. Now, I don't know this project. I don't know if this is the right boundary. You guys will know better. So now it's selected. It's a little bit messy. It is a little bit messy. But I want to give it a new layer. So I'm going to call it hard, HARD landscaping 1, because I'll probably have a few. And then I'm going to go edit, fill. And here the foreground color is what's on top. If I was to click this arrow, it will swap the colors. I'll show you. So I just went cancel. If I click this arrow, it swaps the colors to the bottom. I'm swapping that to the top. This is still selected because I didn't hit deselect. So I go edit, fill, foreground color. Okay, now it's there. It's a bit garish, it's a bit bright, but I can amend the opacity and turn it down. Now, what else am I missing? Triangle for my front door. So I'm just going to add a layer and call it triangle. My typing is really bad. I mean, you can do this a couple of different ways. You can be super neat, but I would just get it done. Am I on the right layer? Yeah, no, I need it to be black. Okay, there we go. There's probably a secondary entrance. I'm going to move that back with my arrow. So I'm going to Control copy, Control V. I've pasted it. I need to spin it around, and to move it, I need to zoom in to grab it. The secondary entrance one is usually a little bit smaller. If you guys want to be more neat, you can make a square and cut it in half. So someone shout out and tell me what I'm missing, what I should do next. Let me see. Niall, are you there? What do you think I should add in next? We only have a few more minutes. I'm sorry, putting you guys on the spot.
I have to go to be honest with you.
Okay, let's go to our list. Let us go to the list. And this is why I love checklists. Okay, line weights. Buildings have a white background. I might do that. The shadows. Okay, I did the trees at North Point. Don't need that because the trees are contours. We're not doing that. Meter apart. Basic three main trees. Boundary line. 3 different line weights. I've kind of done a lot with a few simple things. It's just a matter of kind of repeating it. Repetition. Do you know what? I might add in just dash lines for something above. Okay, I'll add in like an overhang. And then I want to add in, I want to do the, like honestly, we've done so much with a couple of little, you know, few basic things. I want to shade in the inside of the building differently. So if I was doing this, you know, I would take this shade, I would do this up this side as well. I'll do it at the end if I have time. I'm going to add an overhang. Okay, let's do that dead quick. I'm going to go back to black lines in my layers, black lines. I've got an original copy down here, so it, you know, it doesn't, I always have a record, always keep a record. But if I don't actually know how to do a dash line in Photoshop, but what I'm going to do, pencil tool, brush tool. Okay, this is a cheat, but it's okay for today. I'll find out a better way to do this. Okay, that pen is massive. It's the wrong color. When you want to go back to black and white, you click these two little buttons and it brings it back to black and white. And you can always go and grab the color you used before. You need to, if you want to grab the color again, actually, I'll do that after this. So what we're going to do is get a pen. I don't know if there's a dash, but we'll just fudge it for today. We'll make it, is that too heavy? That's too heavy. We need to make it more skinny. We can change it here. Let's do 1 pixel. Yeah, that matches the original drawing. So I want to go from there to there. I'm going to hold down my shift key. It didn't work. It kind of oversailed. So I'm going to have to just eyeball it. And then we're going to get the eraser, which is this one. Oh, that's too big. So we make the eraser size much smaller. And I'm going to rub it out. And this is obviously not neat and, you know, super neat and tidy, but today we're doing, the purpose of today is to show you what we can do quickly. And I said I would do it in half an hour, so I'm really against the clock here. So that's, okay, it's not perfectly straight or anything. What you might, if you were smarter than what I just did, okay, what you probably should do, which is a bit more clever, is copy this line over. Okay, I'm going to undo Control Z. And then I'm in the black lines layer, am I? Need more space. You can grab those up. Layers. Okay, I'm in black lines. I'm going to grab a little bit of this. Control copy. Control V. So it's there now, and I hit the move button so that it would move, and then I'm using my arrow keys on my keyboard, and I'm going to zoom in, and then I'm going to hold shift down to stretch it. Stretching? Yeah. So now it's kind of like the pen weights match what was originally there. Move it out with the little arrow keys, and then that made its own layer. When I copied it, it made its own layer. Might as well give it a name. Overhang. You can always merge layers and delete them a bit after. I'm going to get the eraser button. I'm going to make it 3 pixels, and I'm going to go over and back. Sure, there's a better way to do a dash line. I'll find out for you. And then zoom out, and there you go. So we have something overhanging. Now I want to get a nice pattern for inside. So I want to see if I can use a particular hatch by Googling for something. Let's put in texture. Okay. Let's grab a bit of that. So as I said, this is not like the perfect way of doing things. This is like a fast way. This is probably going to come out pixelated. We'll give it a go. Go back to my Finder, right click, open in Photoshop. I'm going to close off some of the files I don't need before because it'll only slow my computer down. I don't need the tree anymore. Don't save. I've got my texture. It's actually too shaded down here. I'm only going to take this top bit. So I brought I highlighted the marquee tool and I select it over there, and I'm going to hit Control C for copy and go in here. Let's see if it automatically makes itself a new layer. I'm hitting Control V. Yep, it made a new layer. So hard landscaping 2. I'm only going to put it like here. So that's there, it's sitting there, and I want to select a certain part of it. I need it to be underneath my black lines. I'm going to grab the black lines layer and push it on top. See, it came on top now. And now it's much easier for me to select. Like I could actually, oh here, that overhang, I need to move that overhang layer to the very top. You can see the line there again. So I could do this by eyeballing it, or just move that underneath the overhang. Or I could, so I can do it in two ways. I can use the polygonal thing, or I can get the magic wand. You just need to make sure you're on the right layer. So if I go to black lines and click in here, it will select that. But I need to do each one of the steps. And I don't like the way that's going to come out. So I'm going to hit deselect. And I'm going to eyeball it with this. And what I'm going to do is crop away what I don't want. So that bit is selected. I need to go make sure I'm on Hard Landscaping 2 now and hit delete. And it has cropped it away. I'm on Hard Landscaping 2. I didn't need to be on black lines because I'm eyeballing it. I'm not selecting things. And I'm just going to cut that away. I want to do it quickly, so I'm going to get the plus button, shift for a Mac. I'm going to add this to my selection that I'm going to delete. Bam, bam, bam. Random out here, hit delete. Okay. I'll zoom out. So it's starting to come together. So what we said we were going to do was just, how much time have I left? 7 minutes. I want to do this again on the top side. So some of the Photoshops, if you click on the thing, it will highlight the layer. But some of the versions that you might have don't do that, and you need to find the layer here and click it. I want to match the color of that, so I'm going to turn the opacity back up to full opacity. And that kind of, oh, it changed itself randomly. I'm going to Control D for deselect. So my black lines are on top of everything, so even if I'm not super neat, this color is going to sit under. And I'm going to that's, I don't know what that white line is. If you're not confident doing all this in one go, you can do it in 2 halves. Okay, I'm on Hard Landscaping 1. I need this color and I don't have it anymore. So I get my pipette over here, hit the thing, it goes into your box. This is still selected because I didn't hit deselect. Go to edit, fill. No, I don't want black. I want foreground. And then hit deselect, and then I would pull this down and make sure it's underneath, and then I'm going to change my opacity back to 80. And now we just need one more color for inside. Oh, all my trees are, I need to pull my landscaping all the way to the bottom. My trees have popped up. And we need a white box in here, or do we need a different color? We only have 5 minutes, so I'm going to leave it there. But what I want you guys to do for next week is something like this, something rough and ready, something quick, but just try and use all of the little items on the list. Doesn't matter your design, you're not designing, you're actually just learning the Photoshop. So what I would add in now, if I was keeping going, I would do another search for Photoshop people plan silhouette. But it looks like you guys know this already because I saw it in some of your examples. And then you can grab some shapes of people walking and put them in. And I would also grab a hedge. I like putting hedges and things. So I think some hedging around some entrances is always really nice. And you just treat them the same as the tree. You just give them a shadow. And that's it. Robin, did you have a question or is your hand up from before?
I think it was up from